Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about how to build an abundance mindset with money or a money mindset. But before we begin building this positive money relationship, we're going to talk about what we're covering in this video today. So number one, we're going to focus on understanding the mind. Number two, look at self-sabotage and the ways that it shows up. Number three, the different kinds of narratives within the money relationship. Number four, your personal story or the personal story that you have with money. Number five is actually what is money itself. And finally, number six is where we're going to talk about the mindset hacks, which will also entail the homework for this week. So let's get into it. First, we have to understand the mind. So for today, I want you to think of the mind as having a lower brain and a higher brain. Your lower brain is what seeks out comfort, it tries to keep you safe, and it goes with what is familiar. This is why our comfort zone is so popular and normal for us. It's because a lot of us are operating from our lower brain. This was passed down from our ancestors as a means to avoid threats and dangers in our life. And it was very survival based. So for the time in our evolution where we were cavemen, or up until recently, we were very much in our survival mode. We were just trying to survive day by day, avoiding these threats and dangers. Occasionally we would step into our higher brain, which is actually the opposite, and it seeks expansion, it seeks evolution, it seeks growth, which can often make your lower brain feel very uncomfortable because it's unnatural to it. So for today, we're going to now step into our higher brain a little more consciously. Look at it as upgrading your biology, just going with the natural flow of evolution, where yes, there may be a little bit of resistance at first, but it's going to feel expansive for us. Thanks to this space, we can then understand where these stories have started when it comes to our money mindset and why it's been there over this time. Because as I said, many of us are operating from that lower brain. And in order for us to now create a better relationship with money, we need to step into our higher brain and allow that expansiveness, create a new comfort level for ourselves. Because every time you're breaking a cycle, you're stepping into this next layer and this next part of your life. And then once you're comfortable, you then go into the next part where you break the next cycle. And that's kind of how the lower brain and the higher brain actually work together, even though they are so opposite. One of the ways that it makes itself known is through self-sabotage. When you're aiming or trying to expand or do something differently, that can automatically trigger your lower brain into thinking, ding, 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 something's going wrong here. We need to now go into our safety mode, into our protective mode, which causes all of these self-sabotage behaviors due to a number of narratives that is out there about abundance and money. So let's look into these narratives so we can understand why it is we're self-sabotaging and why it is it's causing this lower part of your brain to get triggered or feel like it needs to be in its defense mode. Starting with public narratives. There are so many sayings about money out there, like money never made man happy, money is the root of all evil, money doesn't grow on trees, more money, more problems. There are so many sayings about money out there that are inherently not positive. So if this is something you're hearing all the time and you're surrounded by, your mind is always taking in information. It's always trying to find answers and ways to keep you safe. As well as it wanting to evolve, these sayings are causing this conflict within you where you're like, I want money, but then I'm told all these things about it, which is telling my mind it's not safe to have it. So then I'm repelling it as a result. Like what? So many people get caught up in this because they're so used to hearing these sayings, it's been embedded in them for so long, and it does take time and effort for these to change. But one of the primary ways we can do this is by changing our language towards money, by seeing it as an energy that if we feed positive energy into something, it's gonna grow. If you feed negative energy into something, it's not gonna grow. Money is as simple as this. So if we have all these negative sayings about it, what can we say that's gonna be more positive? Then on another deeper level, for your lower brain, in order to reassure it that you are safe, you need to seek out some stories about money that have actually been very positive. Some new positive sayings and new stories are feeding new ideas into your mind, into your subconscious, which is then saying, hey, wait a minute, we can create this and also be safe and also have connection and also have the life we want to have. money can be abundant and beautiful. And it's that actually changes the way that we think of money completely. But it does take a little bit of time. So you have to be patient with yourself as you look for these new narratives. And then we have the spending narratives. And there are multiple of these. So number one is the emotional spender. This is a kind of person that desperately wants to save, but cannot seem to do so because they're constantly spending money due to the way that they're feeling at the time. These people will feel sad, and because they feel sad, they'll go shopping. And then they'll get a momentary high from that shopping, but then they'll get stressed and feel bad about spending that money, which then enters this lack mindset. And from the lack mindset, they then enter the sadness once again. And so the cycle goes on. As you can see, these people are stuck in a loop. And the loop is actually caused by the fact that they don't want to feel their feelings. They're numbing their own pain or their uncomfortable feelings in life with things. But things can't change that. They can't really resolve those issues. So they act as a band-aid, which then continues this cycle. Until we bring awareness to this cycle, we can't end it. So first and foremost, if you are an emotional spender, you need to ask yourself, what is the feeling that you're craving? What is it that you're avoiding every time you're going out and spending? What is it that you feel about money and about yourself? Because often these people don't necessarily have a bad relationship with money. They've just tied it in with their emotions too much. So it's almost like because they're intertwined, we need to find a way to separate these now, to say this is emotions, this is money. How can I use them both in the best way possible for myself? A lot of that will involve interrupting this cycle by entering into a new phase where you, instead of when you're feeling sad going shopping, you could change that to just window shopping. And no, this is not by any way saying that you're in lack or that you can't get things to the universe. It's helping you heal that relationship, because you all of a sudden start to then associate when you're sad, what do? Okay, I'm going out window shopping. Eventually you're going to then associate it to just walking. And then by associating something like a feeling with a physical activity, one, it's going to help you sit with that emotion in a healthy way. But two, it's also giving you a healthy habit to use physical movement, which has been proven to actually boost your mood. So in fact, it's helping you get all those feelings that you're actually longing for that items can't necessarily give you. I always say, when it comes to things in life and material abundance, it's absolutely fantastic. I love it, you love it, we all do. But the thing about material abundance is, it can be a catalyst of happiness. It can help you feel great in certain ways, but it's not the essence. The essence comes from you. It's you that's creating the emotions, not the items. Start to sit with your emotions a little more. And I know that can be hard, but seek out help if you need to, just to start breaking this cycle. Because the more we understand what it is we're actually craving, the more we're able to give that to ourselves in healthier ways, as opposed to living in the old ways that we used to, subconsciously having this programming of staying in these cycles that aren't serving us. Remember that just because you can buy anything doesn't mean that you would buy everything. So for my emotional spenders, ask yourself, why are you buying what you're buying? What emotion is it that you're actually craving or running away from and avoiding? And thirdly, sit with yourself and ask yourself, if I could have absolutely anything, what would I actually want? And what is that thing giving me emotionally? Because then that's going to tell us what we need to do more of, how we need to give it to ourselves now. With emotional spenders, they're quite sporadic because, as the title says, it's usually due to their emotions. However, we have another type of spending narrative, which is number 2, the chronic spender. There are 2 ways the chronic spender will show themselves in life. One is due to the fact that there are these narratives out there that are very negative and they genuinely in their subconscious believe them. So they will get money, but they will never keep money. They'll always constantly spend and let go of it because they actually have a wound around keeping the money. They've been told that it's mean, it's power hungry, it's this, it's that. So because of that association in their subconscious mind, they're like, it's great that we have money, but let's not keep it because that makes us a bad person, so I'm just going to keep spending it so that I'm not a bad person. That's literally what's happening with the chronic spenders that are this type of chronic spender. Then you have another type of chronic spender who literally comes from scarcity. It's someone that's been so suppressed when it comes to money that when they finally get the chance to spend money, they will spend all of it because they've never had the chance to do it before that. It's kind of like, imagine like you haven't eaten for like 10 days and then all of a sudden there's all this food in front of you. You're just going to stuff yourself as much as you can because you don't know when you're going to get food again. That's what's happening with money. You literally feel like, I don't know when I'm going to have the chance to spend next, so I'm just going to spend as much as I possibly can right now. Again, these two wounds are very different because one is like, doesn't want to keep it, and the other one's, I don't know whether I'm going to get it again. So the narratives are very different, but the essence of them is the same because they're both continuously spending, not saving, having this cycle because of the things that they've been through. These people are generally quite happy to give, but not necessarily receive. And when they receive, they don't know how to keep it. So I need you to ask yourself, if you're a chronic spender, what do you think money says about you? And get deep, journal it. Secondly, ask yourself, what feeling are you craving? Is it freedom? Because for a lot of you it would be. And why is it that you're craving that? Have you always had money in your life? Because that can impact things. And how do you feel when you get money? And I don't just mean in the moment of getting it, because a lot of you will get excited at first, but when you have money, how does it feel for you? What kind of itch do you have? Do you feel like you need to get rid of it? Do you feel like you want to keep it? Are you living in scarcity? Ask yourself these series of questions, journal them, because they're really going to tell you the essence and the core of where these money wounds are coming from and why they're there. Then we have the penny pincher, or in Hindi we call these people kanjoos. These kinds of people are in the mentality that money is so scarce that they need to do everything in their power to keep it with them. Because of this scarcity, it actually causes them more stress, and they will always go out and look at what they're losing as opposed to what they're gaining. There'll always be that kind of mentality that's like, oh my god, I spent this much money, not thinking about the fact that that money has given them an experience or an item or some ease in their life. They're constantly looking at the outgoing and not acknowledging the incoming with their blessings. And because they're so fixated on that, again, it just makes them even more tight or penny pinching with their money, where now it's got to a point that it's created a narrative that it's okay if other people fork out for them, but it's not something they want to do for people. It creates a very their loss is my gain kind of narrative, and that can be very toxic. And not just toxic for other people, but also for them, because they're literally missing out of the joy of life, and they're missing out of the joy of giving. Like, it lights me up when I'm able to do things for people, and they don't get to experience that because they're so scared of what they're losing that they cannot think of the things that they're gaining. For my penny pinchers, no judgment, genuinely, because what you're craving is safety and security. Ask yourself if there's anything else around money that you feel you need to bring to light, or if there's something you are craving. But generally for a lot of you, it's going to be safety and security. So you need to journal these questions and ask yourself, have I always been in a financially stable environment? And if I haven't, how has that impacted me? How does it feel to have control over my money? And why is it that I find it so important to have control over it? What does it feel like every time I spend money? What feelings arise when I think about spending money? These series of questions are going to tell you a lot about why you've chosen what you've chosen. And like I said before, awareness is how we begin to break the cycle. So it's introducing new things into your life where you do maybe spend a little. You allow yourself that ability to give, to spoil somebody else. Again, financially, we're able to enjoy our lives as well as save. It's about finding balance. For every single spending narrative, it's never that you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't spend. It's acknowledging, respecting, and living within balance. Because when we do that, it's sustainable, it makes us feel great, we get to have the best of everything. And that's what I want for you. Which literally brings us to number 4, the abundance narrative. And like I just mentioned, the abundance narrative is basically spending with a purpose. Do you actually need what you're getting? Do you even actually want what you're getting? It's finding that perfect balance between spending and saving, giving and receiving. It's nurturing that lower brain where you feel that safety and security, you're not overstretching yourself, but also stepping into that higher brain, allowing you to be expansive, allowing you to have more experiences that you want. It's finding that perfect balance. And the other part of having an abundance mindset is also fulfilling those feelings more. So when we covered the other spending narratives, what were the feelings that you were craving? Because we need to give ourselves more of those feelings now. Instead of delaying abundance and the feeling of what that is for later, for when you have something, give it to yourself now. If one of the feelings you were craving was freedom, do something that makes you feel freedom now, in whichever way that wants to show itself to you. Because there's always a way you can get the feelings that you want right now by doing something that helps you bring out those feelings. If you want to feel more free and running makes you feel freedom, run so that you can feel that feeling more. Remember that abundance is infinite. It really is. To what capacity you believe it's possible for you is up to you. If you believe you can be a millionaire or a billionaire, it's all there. It's all possible. There's always a possibility. But do you believe, genuinely believe that it's a possibility for you? Ask yourself that question. Do I believe that I can be a millionaire in my own right? Do I truly believe I can do that? What are the qualities that people have that are that? What would I like to be should I have all of that? It's allowing yourself to feed into the possibility. The fact that it can happen for you is the first step to creating a financial freedom mindset. So ask yourself, do I genuinely believe it's possible for me? And if you don't, then ask yourself, what do I believe is possible for me? Because when we can understand where you're at, that's the only way we can build. And then also asking yourself the series of questions of where did that come from? Where is that limitation? Why is that limitation there? Because now that you understand the lower and the higher brain, the way it shows up, the narratives and the spending narratives of how these people are or how you might be, you know that it's not from judgment. It's a series that has occurred this way because it's just trying to protect you, and that we have power to change those narratives one little step at a time. Which brings us on to your personal story. What do you truly believe that money can do? Both positive and negative. How did your parents speak about money? How did they feel about money? What has that brought out in you? How do you talk about money when you're out, or when you're doing things, or even when you're at home? What do you believe is possible when it comes to money? It's really sitting and journaling these questions to ask yourself your own personal story. Because yes, there's external narratives, there are spending narratives, there are all these things out there for sure, but really the only one that's impacting you is your personal story. Is the equation of all of the things that you've been through in life that has created your money story. So to change your money story, we need to understand fully what the story is right now and where that story's come from. I feel like the theme of this entire video is awareness is what helps break the cycle, because it really does. You can't build from something or change something if you don't know what it is that you're changing. So here is a lot of clarity and a lot of what you need to know to then create the best of your story. It's really understanding where these narratives came from. So if you're a penny pincher, for example, maybe the narrative started from your parents being very irresponsible with money and losing it all. So now you feel like you need to keep it. Then it makes sense why you developed that attitude. But now it's about healing that wound because you know what it is. So just like that, I want you to write a list of all of your money stories, all of the things that you believed about money. I want you to list them all out. I want you to list out your own experiences with money and how that's shaped that. Once you've listed out exactly what it is, that way we know, I then want you to write the complete opposite right next to it or on the following page. So again, if from the example of if you're a penny pincher who had a parent that spent all their money, so that's why you've become that, and you believe that the only way you can keep money is by not spending it, the opposite to that could be, I spend with balance, where I'm able to enjoy myself and have security whilst also living my life and having great experiences. That's the opposite of their current narrative. Now that we've covered the logical narratives that are out there and understood where they've come from and changed some of them for ourselves, I want us to now understand the energetic form of money. So what is money? Money has always been present in its energetic form. It only gained material and physical form more recently, or now you could say more digital form because it's all online. But the concept of what money is has always been around. But back in the day, what we would do is say, I will give you milk if you give me eggs. It was in exchange of services. Now what happened is that in between has now changed to money. Money is what we now exchange for services, and that money has value, and that's why we can exchange it for other services. It's become the middleman between exchanging services so that it didn't always have to be so direct, and so that we can actually have more opportunities to have more experiences in our life. So in fact, the fact that it took physical form and became the middleman has actually been such an advantage to us, because we're now able to explore so many things that we couldn't before. When we strip back money in this way, we're able to understand that money in its entirety is infinite, it is abundant. It might need a minute to replenish itself because we want so many things, but it will always be and come to fruition in the right time. So it's keeping that knowing and understanding that energetically it's always there for you. It's present in nature. It's present in your everyday life. It's the case of, are you noticing it or not? So begin to notice abundance in the ways that it shows up in your life. And I want you to do this actually even beyond money. Because yes, you have money in your life that's created all these opportunities for you, and I want you to see that. But abundance in other things in life is going to create more of that feeling. So seeing abundance of love around you, the fact that you have family, or if you don't have family, that you have friends. Abundance shows itself in so many different ways. It's just a case of noticing it. So take that time to notice it more. The other part that people need to realize about money is that money is neutral. It's not positive, it's not negative. It just is. It's what you do with it that makes it positive or negative. If you choose to use money in a way that is positive, that will make that experience positive. If you choose it to use in a way that is negative, you're creating your own karma. That's going to be an action that you will have to have consequences for eventually. So it's not the money, it's very much the person. And I love to use this analogy because I think it's so on point when it comes to money. Imagine you have a knife. A knife used in the wrong way can be very dangerous. But when used in the right way, it can actually cut the things up that you need. It can provide you with the ability to create different foods. It can be a great thing. But the knife itself isn't good or bad. It's the person using the knife that makes it good or bad. And that is how money is. Money is not good or bad. It's the way the person is using it that makes it good or bad. Money is blamed for a lot of things, but is not the essence of why people do what they do. It's just an excuse to excuse their behavior. So in this case, I hope it shines some light on the fact that money itself is what you make of it. And I know you're going to make great things of it. So you deserve to call more of that abundance into your life, because I know you're going to use it and direct it in the best ways possible. You can be that person. You are that person. Now it's just about you remembering that you are that person. On to money mindset hacks and also your homework. This is where we're creating that transformation to really call in the most of abundance. Number one, we are all equal. No matter how much anyone has made in life, we are all equal. We are all human beings. We all have the same capacity to be able to create whatever we want. And I need you to remember that. We are all equal. So this week, you're going to go out and you're going to look for stories that are going to help you create more of a positive mindset and how you can create money. And number two, you're going to create more words of affirmation that are going to support this, to create this narrative, as opposed to the ones that you've heard before. And number two, the attitude for gratitude. This week, I want you to actually write a list out, or even say it out loud if that's what feels comfortable to you, of all of the things that have been possible in your life thanks to money. Whether that's your education, whether that's the food on your plate, whether that's the fact that you're able to travel, every nitty-gritty detail. I want you to write what has been possible thanks to money. Because a lot of the time, we're feeding all these stories into money, but we're not acknowledging how much we have, how much we're able to have thanks to it. Thanks to the fact that yes, the feelings come from within, but like I mentioned, money is a great catalyst. It can give us amazing things. And just like any energy, it deserves the recognition, the love, and the care for the fact that it provides you with so much. Number 3, your spending narrative. Now that you know which one it is and you know what abundance narrative is, stepping into the abundance narrative more. Finding balance for yourself between spending and saving. Helping both your lower mind feel safe at the same time as allowing yourself to feel expansive. And then we're on to number 4, which is changing the story. One of the easiest and quickest ways to change a story within your subconscious mind is through asking lofty questions. So what are lofty questions? Lofty questions are a series of questions that are in alignment with what it is you want to create. By planting these ideas into our minds are naturally just curious. So if we ask it a question, it's going to try and find the answer. And that's how we're able to attract things. For example, your lofty question for this could be, why do I attract abundance so easily into my life? Why am I able to attract, maintain, keep, and spend money in the best and most balanced ways possible? Why am I always attracting the most beautiful human experiences? Why is money natural for me? Why do I attract it naturally? Asking these series of questions will implant these ideas into your mind, which aligns you with money and the energy of money more. So now go and create your own lofty questions for abundance. Those are just a couple off the top of my head, but you can now create these according to yourself. And like I said earlier, again, make it specific to you, make it specific to the things that you have been through. If lack of security has been something for you, create the lofty question of, why is security always present in my life? Why am I always financially stable? These are things that you can easily put into your lofty questions and use them as affirmations. Every day in the morning, have a series of 4 to 5 lofty questions for your abundance that you use. Vishen Lakhiani is a person that came up with this concept, so if you want to look into what lofty questions is more, I will drop the link in my description and you can go and check that out. He is incredible and it's been such a game changer for me, and I know it will be for you too. Then we're on to number 5, the why. Why is it you want to call this abundance into your life? What's the purpose of it? What is it going to allow you to do? It's gaining clarity on all it gives you, all of the feelings it gives you, and then embracing and embodying those feelings now. This again is a way of giving us clarity, it's a way of attracting, it's a way of manifesting, but at the same time it gives you the happiness in the now that you need in order to gain and take the steps towards your future self. Which then brings me on to step number 6, and that's energetic alignment. We're able to do this through meditation. It's actually really useful for you to use your lofty questions within meditation because our brainwaves are at a different state at that point and it's much easier to implant ideas. So that's definitely something that we're going to be doing next week in our meditation, but it's also something that you can start practicing now. Even before you sleep, start asking yourself these series of lofty questions because they will help energetically align yourself with them. As I said, we're embodying more. The more that you embody, the more that you concentrate on your now is what's going to attract abundance. The mistake a lot of people make with abundance is that they keep looking to when they have something or the future. This is why I find it so important for us to look at the essence of what it is you want and bringing it more into your present moment, because that's going to align you more with what you want anyway and going to attract it into your life. So the essence of a lot of things is how we actually align ourselves with them. And it's gaining the clarity, which this video has now given you, so you can actually go out and practice this by using these questions, by finding out these things, by doing the healing, and most importantly, by then energetically aligning yourself through meditation. And finally, step number 7, stepping into your higher brain. Like I mentioned right at the beginning of this video, your higher brain craves expansion, growth. It wants to get out of its comfort zone so that it can get to the next level of what it wants to create. So ask yourself, with all the knowledge and everything that you've gained out of this video today, what methods and steps can you take to step into your higher brain more? How can you maybe break some of the comfort cycles that aren't serving you anymore to level up in new ways? What small steps can you take because there will always be something. Implementing that is going to then again energetically align you, help you really put everything that is in this video into practice. Because to be honest, if you don't put it into practice, there can't be any change, right? It will remain the same. So by using these changes and working with ourselves, that's the only way that we can create change. These are just 7 quick money mindful techniques that you can use to help heal your money story. There is so much more to it, but this is all I could fit in this video. So if you'd like to see more like this, then drop a comment down below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you can actually see when I'm putting up videos every week. Don't forget to share your journey with me by tagging me and DMing me. Follow me on social media. All of my links are down below. We're in this together. We've got this, and I love you.